Your submissive wants more play, a wider power gap. They want you to take up more space as a dom, be more firm and consistent. But when you do, they resist. Or worse, they get triggered and call their safe word. If you've been there, keep watching, because in this video, I'm breaking down a simple 3-step system that will end this confusing cycle and start a new, exciting erotic flow instead. Because as we discussed in the last video, Jack and Jill, our case study, are going through it. Jack and Jill are in a dom-sub relationship, and Jill desperately wants more of a power gap in order to check out of her head. Because Jill doesn't just work security, she works security at a men's prison. And to try to facilitate the mental and emotional release Jill wants and needs through sexual submission, Jack established an evening ritual for her every day after work. Come home, get naked, get the butt plug, kneel before him, and offer the butt plug and lube for insertion. Once inserted, Jill is to remain nude and make a quick dinner for her and Jack, and then Jack determines the subsequent activities for the night with a sharp end before bed so they can get ready for an early morning. But Jack quickly saw this plan backfire. Why? Well, like so many of the well-intended dominants who come to me for help, he's using a strategy I see commonly employed. And on the surface, this combination seems like it would be effective. The reasoning is be more powerful than the triggering emotions while introducing intense erotic acts that will allow the body to overpower the mind and launch the submissive into subspace. But I don't care how it sounds or how it looks on paper. This just doesn't work. The strategy just doesn't work with a triggered submissive or one so stuck in a hard, guarded masculine energy they can't relax, respond, and receive. And this strategy, a combination of emotional aggression and erotic intensity, is especially ineffective with triggered women. That's why I've revised these strategies with a simple 3-step system, which we'll break down in just a minute. But it's crucial to note the differences between some key terms first. Many dominants will lean into emotional aggression because they don't know how to employ emotional guidance instead. The presence of harsh language, intense energy, or aggression does not indicate leadership. Leadership is the ability to effectively guide someone from point A to point B, regardless of the obstacles between those 2 points. The key is emotional guidance, not emotional aggression. Many dominants in this situation will also try showing erotic intensity rather than erotic coaxing. Coaxing is the ability to guide someone around a perceived obstacle in such a pleasant way they cease to even perceive the obstacle. This requires presence, emotional intelligence, and the right tools, which is why I've created my new Mindful Mastery bundle on Patreon to give you the tools to move your submissive into authentic subspace without any social anxiety or performance pressure. I'll walk you through a 7-step system for creating after-work rituals, complete with a list of 25 subtle transitional cues to get you started. And with this bundle, you'll also get access to my exclusive Catharsis Masterclass, a full 90-minute deep dive into leveraging erotic domination for mental health benefits and anxiety relief for 50% off. Just visit patreon.com/LXerotica to download this new bundle now. So, if emotional aggression and erotic intensity don't work with a triggered submissive, what do? Just let them spiral and abandon all sense of power exchange in those moments because we need to bend the knee to trauma? Absolutely not. You want to use my 3-step system instead, but it all starts with a transitional ritual. In other words, we want to give the submissive the mental and emotional processing time to go from one end of the spectrum to the other, whether that's dom space to subspace or vanilla life to kinky play. First, we want to offer emotional guidance. So, in the case study with Jack and Jill, I advised Jack to instruct Jill to listen to her favorite music on the way home, a specific playlist they create together full of songs that make Jill feel happy, playful, and feminine. This allows Jill to start softening her mind, emotions, and body without any pressure as she drives home. Next, I advised Jack to have Jill find him and give him a hug when she got home. No kneeling, no honorific, no kissing, nothing sexual, just a simple, affectionate hug. Now, Jack noted that Jill is often still stuck in her head and resistant to affection at this point, so I instructed Jack to operate with a lot of daddy energy and make her stop and just be held. Sometimes your submissive needs you to just make them stop and be loved. Breathe with her. Tell her there's no more responsibility, that she doesn't have to be big and strong and tough anymore, and she could allow herself to be soft and held. This melted Jill, which beautifully demonstrates my point about offering emotional guidance. It's always the first step in dominating a triggered submissive. Next, we want to avoid jumping right into erotic intensity or sexually explicit acts. Yes, there is a mind-body connection, and yes, we can absolutely exploit that in a positive way during play. But as we discussed in the last video, when our nervous system is dysregulated, as was the case with Jill after working all day as a security officer, our coping mechanisms are activated. For many of us, this means disassociating from the body or using substances or activities to numb out as a means of disassociation. Physical disassociation cannot be solved through more physical stimulation. It will only exacerbate the disassociation. That's why I suggest erotic coaxing instead. And in our case study, I advised Jack to take Jill by the hand, lead her into the bathroom, and slowly, affectionately, lovingly remove her clothes and draw her a bath. I told him to gauge her emotions day to day, tenderly offering her space to relax on her own or staying with her and bathing her, depending on the organic needs of the moment. Either way, the act of removing your lover's clothes, especially a uniform, is not just a striking visual cue that will help guide them into a softer emotional space. This is a deeply erotic act that coaxes more softness, openness, and vulnerability, and the building blocks to subspace. Finally, you want to use your authority, but with a triggered submissive, it's all about how you exhibit this authority. All right? It cannot be perceived as cold, harsh, judgmental, or aggressive. You must guide, but you must do so in a way that feels safe and non-threatening to the submissive. When Jack faced hesitation or resistance from Jill, I advised him to view it not as an act of defiance or bratting, but as a cry for help, a need he could meet. For instance, I advised Jack to remove the butt plug from the ritual and save that for play whenever he wanted. Instead, I encouraged him to have Jill change into a specific outfit just for high protocol nights like this, instruct her to kneel at his feet, and just sit there and pet her, stroke her hair, while he read or watched a show for a few minutes as just a grounding act for both of them. Now, Jill, still fighting her boss bitch headspace, struggled to simply sit at his feet, rest, and receive attention. She started to get fussy, complaining he wasn't doing anything, etc. This is a cry for help. And I had Jack use his authority by taking her chin, forcing eye contact, and offering non-threatening correction like, I know you're used to calling the shots, baby, but you're not in control right now, okay? Yeah, I just want you to sit here and rest for a moment. Can you be a good girl for me and just snuggle up? Just let me pet you a bit? Yeah? That's a good girl. Yeah, just rest there, right at my feet. There we go. What a beautiful girl. We used our authority to guide the submissive on our desired path, but we didn't have to be scary, intimidating, or further triggering to do so. Subs with trauma need authority. They need to know you're in control of the situation, but it needs to feel safe. And the first key to creating this safety in your authority is by introducing a transitional ritual to your submissive. So be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on, because in the next video, I'm sharing 10 of my favorite transitional rituals that can quickly get your submissive ready for play, regardless of what they do all day.